How you doing, man?
Good to see you, Travis.
Yeah, good to see you, Dave.
We welcome back thermal imaging experts Dave Mason and Pete Kelsey to help us conduct nighttime experiments at the Triangle designed to learn more about the bubble-like anomaly.
I'm praying for a lot of smoke. Ever since we saw the blob above the Triangle, I thought that building large fires there and creating a lot of smoke might help us be able to paint the invisible man, so to speak. So tonight's exercise, where we're gonna have 2 large containers with fire, is gonna give us the opportunity to put a lot of smoke up in this space over a long period of time. We're getting there.
While the fires fill the air inside the bubble with smoke, we're hoping that it will allow us to see the shape of the bubble either with our own eyes or on our instruments. Dave Mason will be operating his specialized FLIR thermal cameras to capture anything strange that might appear cooler than normal in what will be a very hot environment. If he does capture anything, it could be more evidence that something of significance is above the Triangle.
All right, guys, we're ready to light this first bin. Here it goes.
There it goes.
Burn, baby, burn.
There's a lot of heat coming off that now.
Yeah. Well, we're now flooding that zone pretty good.
Yeah, we sure are. That's a lot. That's a lot of hot air.
You guys ready for us to light this second one?
Light that second fire.
That's all I needed to hear. All right. Perfect. That's a great smoke column.
All right, what the hell was that? A big cold pocket just forming. Oh, that is weird.
You guys should see this. This is just weird. There's a cold vortex in the heat.
David, that is really interesting.
Oh, there's another one. In the FLIR, we're picking up these dark zones, these cold vortexes in the heat. And then some of them would just kind of move around.
Look at that.
And yeah, see, right there. That, yeah, see?
That doesn't make any sense.
This is just amazing. And I don't have an explanation for it. The cold spots that registered as black or just extremely cold are in the vicinity of where there would be extreme heat. There's no physics explanation for this. I have never observed this, nor would I expect to be able to observe this. This was the strangest thing I've ever seen.
All right, I think I'm gonna put a rocket up through there.
Stand for.
Since we had no idea if the cold spots were physical objects,
I think right there is gonna do it.
I decided to launch a rocket to see what would happen as it flew through one of these anomalies.
Everybody be advised.
It's at the Triangle. We have a rocket is going hot. Rocket is going hot.
Copy that.
Guys, be advised we're about ready to go with a rocket launch. We'll have all your sensors ready to go. David?
Be paying attention on your differential FLIR, please.
Yeah, roger that, I'm doing that.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Dude, that one went straight up. Come on, shoot.
Eyes on it.
Gosh, I don't have any eyes on anywhere.
Right there.
There it is. Good shoot.
It stopped.
Rocket went straight up. Chute has deployed.
And it's sitting still right over the Triangle.
What?
Look at that. It's not even moving. It looks like it's floating right over the Triangle. It's not coming down. Look at that.
It's not even moving
It's
now.
not moving. Thomas, look, it ain't falling.
It looks like it's suspended in the air.
It ain't even falling. What the hell? That is insane.
Now it's moving.
Yeah, it's coming down now. It's gonna come right down on top of us.
I couldn't tell at the moment what caused it, but something clearly made that rocket freeze midair a couple hundred feet high for several seconds. There was literally no wind at the time that would explain it. So, could it have been something strange inside the bubble that held it in place like that?
What's going on?
Remember, after we got the fires going, we did do a rocket launch. And I've got some video content that David Mason has shared with us from his differential thermal FLIR system. We do see the rocket in this video sequence, but there's also another feature that you may remember he was drawing our attention to, and it was a cold zone.
Oh, I remember that.
That cold zone was there almost all night. It was really weird.
I'm just gonna let this play through.
So you can see the two fire bins on either side and the hot smoke rising, but for some reason, you got these dark, cold zones right about where the blob was.
As we review the data from the smoke fire experiment in the triangle, it's crazy to think that these cold spots were right above me. There was so much heat in that area, I don't even see how that's possible. To have these cold spots, what could possibly be going on here?
I have no explanation for that. But I've got a few things I wanted to show you all.
Okay.
This is the triangle. This is SLAM LiDAR scanner. This, to me, was the most interesting one.
We'll check this out. But if you rotate this and look at it from the south, there was something that looked quite solid, sort of poking out of that cloud. The feature that first caught my eye, because it appears to be more solid, was actually in this area.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna point and you tell me where Dave's feature, his cold spot was
Or
located.
you stop in height, but you need to go to the west. Or stop right there.
Right there.
Yep. That's where the big cold spot or vortex was.
That's crazy. They
Yeah.
look similar now that I'm looking at it.
Wow.
That is wild.
There's clearly structure right in there that's more dense or has more particle points than in the rest of the cloud.
How do you get such coherent structure in smoke?
That's crazy. Between the cold spot that Dave Mason captured in his thermal camera and the features in the smoke that both Eric and Pete Kelsey picked out in the LiDAR data, made us wonder if there could be multiple anomalies at the center of the bubble. But if so, what are they and what purpose do they have?
We did a lot of scans. I'm just going to show you one more because this is the really interesting one. I'll just come around to the launch site.
Okay, so what are we looking at right there?
This, I believe, is the rocket.
The rocket, uh-huh.
This is a total mystery once again. In almost the same spot in over 25 scans now. There's been something in that direction giving me returns going well up into the sky.
Is that the edge of the bubble?
Yes.
All right, so this is looking straight up.
Straight up.
You know, this is looking straight up, and there's the top of the bubble. You can see the rings. Look here, it's, so you can see this ring right here, and there's the central point. There's another ring here, there. Look, here's an outer ring here. You can still see it. You can see the walls of the bubble.
Yeah.
Look, see, here it is, look. You can see the walls. You can see it. The LiDAR picked it up again. Our fires and smoke certainly gave us more data on possible anomalies above the triangle. But just like Pete's LiDAR data from 1 year ago, we now have repeatable, hard evidence that a massive bubble-shaped phenomenon is encompassing the entire area. Now, we've got to figure out an experiment to determine what it is and what these weird things inside of it could be. This was a fascinating experiment. We've got a cold blob floating in the air that doesn't move. We've got people seeing blue orbs, and we got LiDAR picking up a bubble around us.
It's crazy.
So, Eric, maybe you were right. Where there's smoke, there is fire.
This time for sure, and more.